Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Keith Andrew, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network, episode 408. I'm here to talented and beautiful Karen and Bella, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, for people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. To never give up and to prove people wrong, and to prove to people that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. So that being said, hashtag break the labels. And with that being said, a half hour of your time, half hour, 34 minutes. You can say anything you want, talk about whatever you want, curse if you want to. It's freedom of self-expression, freedom of speech. And starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
I am a singer-songwriter. I am also a woman working really hard in this world to get through it with all the challenges and obligations. I also am a part-time writer at New Sound magazine, and I'm just trying to live and enjoy life best ways possible, and to be a loving person toward myself and to others.
No, absolutely. It's always better to be remembered for something than nothing at all.
Well, that is true.
Now, with that being said, you mentioned you're a singer and songwriter.
Yes.
What were some of your favorite songs you ever written? And have you ever, just I'm trying to find the words for it. The songs that you sing, and you sing them, right?
Yes.
Have you ever tried, sending demos to like American Got Talent, or have you thought about sending your work to other artists who would be interested in singing your songs?
I have in the past sent demos out to managers, agents, companies, other artists. They were in an unsolicited fashion, so usually you don't always get to the person that you want to get to. I've had some success with getting good reactions, but you're not what we're looking for, which doesn't necessarily mean to anyone who's doing it that there's something wrong with your work. It just means you're not what they're looking for at that time. I have gone to auditions both in the United States and in Israel to The Voice in both countries. I've auditioned, and I auditioned for American Idol. I didn't get through, which is fine. I really enjoyed the experience of it, and I tried really hard to not let that rejection define me. And I think that this entire industry of whether you're an actor or singer or performer of any kind, the thing that you can rely on is rejection, and you have to embrace it because it means you're doing something right, because you're going out there, you're trying, and one day, because you don't give up, you're going to get the yes you're looking for.
No, absolutely. For a perfect example, like you said, you tried out for American Idol and all those other great TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like being on that format and being out in front of those people?
Well, I never got to the point where I was in front of the actual celebrity judges. I got to maybe the first or the second round for the producers, and that was very nerve-wracking, but also a lot of fun because you got to meet a lot of people, and it was nice to see what it's like behind the scenes.
That's true. It's different, like in my case, I'm a big wrestling fan. So it's different sitting back, eating popcorn and there's a Coke in my hand, watching TV than actually being behind the scenes. I would love to be behind the scenes because I have ADD, so I have to be constantly doing something. I like being involved. It's more fun than just sitting there.
Yeah, of course. I think that's how human beings are. We always want to be included in something. We don't want to just, sit on the side and watch. We want to be part of the community. We want to help out. We want to put our ideas in the situation because that's how we were made. And so I think it's wonderful that you are so hands-on with everything.
Yeah, I agree. Now, my next question I was going to ask you, some songs and some bands, for that matter, let me rephrase that. Some bands, like Metallica, Halloween, Iron Maiden is one of my favorites, Rush, they always have, those love songs, power ballads.
Mm-hmm.
What about you as an upcoming singer? First question to that is, have you ever done a power ballad or a love song? And what about, do you cater to the rock and roll or do you cater to the country? What do you cater to?
Well, I'll answer your second question first, and then I'll go into your first question. The style that I write in is basically like Alanis Morissette meets Joni Mitchell. It's a folky pop with an edge, with a little bit of a rock edge, and I like putting those genres together because it almost sounds a little country, it almost sounds a little Americana, and then it almost sounds a little R&B because you have that pop element in there. To answer your second question, your first question, excuse me, is power ballads. To define the ones that are from the 80s and the 90s, I have performed power ballads in the past. I have written songs that are a lot. I think all my...
All right, so before Skype crapped out on us, you were telling us the power ballads you were talking about. So what were some of your music power ballads? You mentioned you were a combination of R&B and rock, real rock and country. And then you mentioned the power ballads, and that's when it seemed to cut off.
Yeah, that's fine. Power ballads are like it's like a rock. It's like a very I don't know how to express power ballads either than using it's like a slow rock with lots of passion and intensity. That was very popular with someone like like Guns N' Roses and Journey and
Bon Jovi.
And Bon Jovi, absolutely. So I've performed those types of songs in my performances. I've written powerful songs. I wouldn't consider them power ballads, but maybe they are. Because I don't really like to label my music. I don't like labeling in genres. But if I had to label it, then I would label. I would be able to. But power ballads are essentially the songs that talk to you. And you said so. You asked me something else. Do you write about love? And I said earlier, yes, I do. All my songs are about love, whether it's about a friendship, my dog, like I said before, or a relationship. I write about love.
So you're kind of like Taylor Swift in a way. And not like, let me rephrase that. And not like you talk about all your past relationships like Taylor Swift, because all her songs are about relationships. So it's kind of like, it's similar to the fact that you do kind of mirror that resemblance, if that makes any sense. Without putting my foot in my mouth.
And I think that's an incredible comparison. Taylor Swift is very known to do what a lot of artists and bands have done and writers have done, which is write from life experience. And she must have gone through some crazy relationships to be able to do what she's doing, to be able to write the amazing lyrics and the amazing melodies. So for you to put a comparison like that with me, that's really beautiful, and thank you. But yes, beware when you date an artist or a writer, beware, because they just might write a song about you.
That's true. It's funny because while we're talking about Taylor Swift for the comparisons, I got the chance to meet her before she became a big star. I think it was 2007 or 2009, or maybe 8 when I was sick and I was recovering. She did an opening act for Tim McGraw and Faith Hill over at Westbury.
Oh, wow, okay.
And she was the opening act, and it's funny how this nobody became a somebody. So you should always be open-minded and appreciate, say, hey, newcomers will eventually become somebody, like me. Eventually, I get my own studio, and I will say my video quality will get better. My interviewing skills, I can hide my disability more. You will see a upgrade. And for you, from singing from your bedroom to being in Westbury, you got to see a different performance. You got to see an upgrade in every step in the way.
Mm-hmm.
But what's that actually being said, I was going to ask you, a question just popped in my head, was what were some of your favorite crowds that you ever performed in front of? What was the biggest crowd? What was the smallest crowd? And do you do charities?
I do charities, absolutely. I think that it's very important as an artist to be involved in the community to help raise money for a cause that needs money for an illness or to help someone out. I've performed in places where nobody has come. I've performed in places where everybody that you can think of and their mother has come. I've had the wonderful opportunity to... Where are you located at, by the way?
Oh, New York.
New York. So in Long Island, New York, I performed at Eisenhower Park.
Oh, nice.
At the Chapin Theater. So that was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And but I think that my favorite performance that I ever was a part of was when I used to be in a duo with a good friend of mine named Philip Richards, an amazing singer, and we put a show together for my birthday, and like everybody that I loved dearly and who loved me dearly came out, and that was my favorite show today.
As I look, I just popped in my head because I don't think before I speak. I usually, it's like when it pops in my head, it's like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. Thanks, brain. And sometimes I hear myself saying, you're welcome. Anyway, just trying to make you laugh. But, you do look like you can be Megan Fox stunt double.
Oh, really? That is really, really great. Thank you. Completely made my night.
Hey, never say never. Now, my next question I was going to ask you was, for the magazine that you write for, we kind of talked about off the air, but I do want to cover it on the air. You mentioned about covering upcoming artists, people like in bands and singers. But don't you think kind of what I'm doing kind of falls under that art category? I know it's a magazine about music bands, but if you think about it, isn't entertainment kind of like an art form?
Entertainment, all forms of entertainment is art. Sorry, my screen is in front of me and it's being weird.
Yeah, that's fine.
It is definitely art. What you're doing is entertainment. It is art. You are a new and upcoming entertainer. And like I said, it's not that the music specific, the magazine specifically focuses on musical artists who are doing everything they can to get out there, and the magazine is the promotion for them. The idea of someone like you who speaks to artists and I'm assuming also everyday people because we're all one and the same. That is an idea that I can definitely throw to my publisher, and we'll see what he has to say. And, however, I do think that your idea of a story about you and what it is that you do, I do think it's a rather fascinating story.
Hey, you helped me, I helped you. It's all about, in today's day and age, it's about, you can't climb Mount Everest with a broken arm. But
right.
If you work together, you can accomplish anything.
Yes.
Do you like that? I just made it up on the spot.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, do you like that? I just made it up on the spot. I'm a real poet.
We're supposed to be poets.
I have my moments. So my next question I was going to ask you was, you mentioned you're from Long Island. Mm-hmm. My grandparents were on Long Island, and my parents actually came from Long Island. My parents used to, hey, anything can happen in life. I know I have that effect on people. My parents used to live in Massapequa. Mm-hmm. My grandparents used to live in Seaford. So I was, I wouldn't say I was born and raised on Long Island, but a long story about that. I've been everywhere in Long Island, one time or another. But the reason I bring it up is, would you ever be interested, or do you think you're at the point where you would do like Westbury shows?
I would love to do shows in Westbury. Like where? Like at a place called The Space, or just in general in Westbury?
Well, just like in general, in Westbury, when I was told to always look for up-and-coming artists. And they have a small stage, so I think that would be a great venue for up-and-coming artists to say, hey, come to Westbury, get your free exposure. And, it's pretty, good because, hey, you're promoting Long Island talent. And at the same time, you're...
Sorry, I was plugging my phone in to charge it up, and like everything, like I almost dropped my phone and it switched to the other side. So sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I was just saying, Westbury has a lot of famous people that go to there. Mm-hmm. Kenny Logan went there. John Edwards goes there. TNA Wrestling goes there. But I think if they actually wanted to go back and cater to the community, is that they should have up-and-coming people go and get some exposure. So you're an up-and-coming singer, that would be perfect for you.
Yes, it would. That's a really good idea. I would love to perform in Westbury. That's a really great idea. I should look more into it.
Well, with that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you one last hard-hitting question, and I'm going to pass the show over to you. I'm here with Karen, the beautiful and talented Karen, and I just want to say thank you for sticking with us. So I just had a brain fart on your last name, so...
Hello.
And it's one of those days, So my last question I was going to ask for you is social media. Can social media make you or break you? And the first thing I do want to touch on is, what were some of your favorite websites that, hands down, if it wasn't for the websites, you wouldn't be where you are today? Or, people talk about Twitter, people use MySpace, Facebook, but two questions in one. The first part of that is, what are some of the websites you use to help you get to where you are today? And do you think it can make you or break you?
I think that, let me answer the first one first. I use YouTube. I use primarily Facebook, both managing an artist page and my personal page. And I blather about stupid stuff and complain about things, which is always nice and entertaining. And then I promote what it is that I'm doing musically. I also use Instagram a lot. I think that's a wonderful way to connect with people. And I use my own webpage. It's www.karenbella.com, traditional spelling. And can it make or break you? I think that it increases your chances of being known, which is really important. Can it break you? It can only break you if somebody spreads something bad about you, something ill on you, and that goes viral. So I think that it could go both ways. I don't think it's an or. I think it can do this and it can do that. It can also do nothing for you. It depends how hard you work. You can post videos till you're blue in the face, but if you don't put it into people's faces, you're not gonna achieve anything. And you also have to do something that's gonna grasp somebody's attention. So it's kind of a formula, I would say.
No, I agree with you. Now, was there anything you wanted to know, anything you wanted to promote? This is your time passing the show over to you.
I want to promote a couple things. So I have an album on iTunes. It's called Ordinary Girl. I released that a few years ago. I'm in the process of recording an EP, and that should probably be out by, I would say, late winter. I'm taking a lot of time to make sure that all the pieces fit together, and working with some incredible people who are really they're really being patient with me because I'm kind of a little bit of a megalomaniac in a good way. I also want to promote that we are all in this same world together. We are all on this journey, and we are dealt with certain types of cards that we must overcome. And it's very important to spread strength, to spread hope, and most importantly, love. Because if we don't have those things, we will not be united, and we will not be together, and we cannot achieve what it is that we are made to achieve on this lovely, beautiful planet of ours. So I think what you're doing, how you're taking the step to do what it is that you want to do and what you love to do, regardless of whatever you consider something that might limit you, I don't think you have any limitations whatsoever. I think you are fantastic. I think you are wonderful just the way that you are. And I've never been more moved by the questions that you've asked me. You ask better questions than I do when I interview people. So, in fact, I have learned from you. And I think you're a wonderful person, and I think I believe and know that you deserve the recognition of everything that you do and everything you stand for.
No, I appreciate it. Hey, supporting a good cause, make a new friend out of it. With that being said, let's give the viewers something a little fun. How about you ask me a couple questions to show us how you interview people?
Oh, God, you're putting me on the spot. Well,
if you want to.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, what made you decide to be the entertainer and an interviewer?
All right, well, there's a lot of different variations to the story. I got tired. One story is I got tired of using my learning disability as a crutch. You know, I can't do this, I can't do that. I use my dad for an inspiration. When he's not an asshole, I use my brother for an inspiration. You know, I use my sister as an inspiration. So there's a lot of different people that I use for an inspiration. But the biggest thing that got to me was the fact, I would say, we used to sit around the table. Unfortunately, we still do that. Not saying it's a bad thing, but unfortunately, the conversation does come up where it says, you know, for an example, my brother doesn't know what he's going to do for the rest of his life. He's like, oh, why don't you talk to your sister? You know, He's a poetry writer. Why don't you talk to your brother? He knows people. Why don't you take the state exams? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And I'm like, okay, what about me? And everyone used to stop. Unfortunately, they still do that. They stopped and they looked at me. It's like, what about you? You're handicapped. You're retarded. You have poor people skills. You can't hold down a job. You can't have a conversation with people. You're not qualified. You don't have a bachelor's or a BA. You don't have this. You don't have that. So after hearing that for, let's see, I've been doing this for 4.5 years. So it's, let's see, 2013. After hearing that since 2013. I heard it over the years, but 2013 was the breaking point. I was like, no, shut up. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm going to turn a weakness into a strength. That's when I started doing my talk show. Yes, I did 72 phone interviews. Unofficially, I did 772 interviews. I first started off doing phone interviews, and I was still having panic attacks. I was still having social anxiety. And I interviewed people from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Dragon Ball Z, Amazing Spider-Man. People say to me, you have this great format. Why aren't you as big or bigger than you portray yourself to be? It's like, oh no, would you like to help me with that? No, if you can't do it yourself, it's not meant to be. One person said to me, do it over and try in a different format. So my biggest mistake was I didn't have the permission form, so everyone signs now. I was taking people at their word. And little by little, they were making idle threats to me, take it down. The actual stupid questions, or it used to be like, oh, my agent said and my publicist said we don't like the video quality. It's degrading to be with people like you. And I said, what am I doing wrong? And people said, you're not labeled, you're not copyrighted, you're not trademarked. So I said, screw it. Went to a lawyer, says, do I have to be trademarked? No. Why? Because your trademark is $2,000, and if you're not making money, it's not beneficial to pay $2,000. All you're doing is digging yourself a hole. Then he said, do I have to be copyrighted? I said, no, because you're online, you've been doing this for many years, people know who you are. He said, your biggest mistake was you're not having them sign a release form. So I got 300 the first time, went through the whole list saying, hey, we did an interview. Do I have your permission to use the interview? Some said yes, some said no. I don't know why they said no. So actually, from 300 it dropped to 200. I had to swallow the 100 or 150, whatever it was. And I did it over, and I said, screw it. If I'm doing it over, I'm going to rebrand myself. Because I'm a big wrestling fan. I thought it was always cool how it said Monday Night Raw and Snickers and Hershey's presents, SummerSlam. And I'm like, well, I'm a wrestling fan. When I have the KeithAndrewNetWork present Uncensored. And when I did it over, I'm like, you know what? Hell with it. I have the KeithAndrewNetWork. I might as well make use of it. So I took everything down and wrote up the permission form like you signed. KeithAndrewNetWork, here's what the show is about. Do you give me 100% permission to do whatever I want with the interview? As long as it's not degrading your image or my image, you can give me your rights. And that's what I've been doing. And thanks to you, we've been back up to 400 and 408. I just did 407 a couple minutes ago. And it's pretty much, I should have been doing this from the start, but it's a learning experience. So why people didn't like it from the start is because what you see on the reflection is pretty much what the camera picked up. And it's pretty much, okay, what the camera sees, this is what season 1 was. And season 2 was, okay, here's the camera. Camera picks up what the computer sees. Season 3, I discovered Skype Recorder. Now it's cut in half. I'm on the right, I'm on the left. Or if you interview me, you're on the right, and I'm gonna be on the left, and we're gonna flip it. So I've been doing that for season 3, 4, and now 5, and it's just trying different things, seeing what fits. So yeah, it took 4.5 years for me to get my head on my ass, but I'm showing you. But if you're patient, I'm like a slow computer. If you're patient, eventually I'm gonna, get to where I'm going.
Yeah.
It may take longer, but I'm showing people, hey, look at what I am. I can't even talk. It's pretty much saying, look at what I'm able to accomplish. A lot of people said, why didn't you do this from the start? I'm like, yeah, I could have done this from the start, but then you wouldn't have seen any growth. Okay, you would have seen some growth, but it's, I don't know. I want to show people there's a transition. But, it's a hit and miss. This is a learning experience. You're taking one step at a time. And you're not Derek Jeter. You're not going to constantly hit home run after home run. You're going to show people, hey, this is step A, and we're going to go B, C, D. You're not going to go A, B, Z. It doesn't work like that.
No, if it does work like that, usually those people crumble quickly. So you want it. There's a saying, slow and steady wins the race.
That's true. With that being said, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But my first question for you is, are you on social media like I asked before? Are you on Twitter, Instagram, Stage32? And my second question to you is, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction, and what made you say yes?
I said yes because of the honesty of who you are and your virtue. My first reaction when you asked me was, oh, someone's paying attention to me. That's nice. That feels good. And then I checked your webpage out, and I fell in love with it.
Oh, I appreciate it. And I know you plugged your social media before, and don't worry, it's got to be in the description box. But I do want to pass one last thing with you.
Sure.
If you watch season 1, 2, and 3, also 4 and 5, well, 5 didn't really happen, we're still in the stages, but if you watch 1 or 4, there's occasionally a time in the episode where I have 2 people on the screen, either they're together, like you and your dog can be like together, or it'll be you with a split screen with someone on the other side.
Yes.
So what I wanted from season 5 is, and going on the record, I wanted to give myself practice. And what I mean by that is, people said to me, why don't you do speaking engagements? Why don't you talk in front of crowds? Why don't you talk in front of groups of people? And what better way to give myself practice than doing double interviews and doing group interviews? And for whatever the reason is, people are against doing group interviews and double interviews. So I'm going to go on the record. This is why I do double interviews. 1, I have social anxiety. 2, I have poor people skills. 3, it gives me the confidence of talking to multiple people at the same time, because I suck at that in person. So once I give myself enough practice, I'll be like, okay, here's all my work with double interviews, and now season 6 will be triple interviews, and season 7 will be interviewing 4 people at the same time. So I'm showing you, I'm giving myself practice, and I'm making myself more comfortable. So when I put myself in that situation, I'm already prepared. Instead of throwing myself to the wolves and being like, I don't know what I'm doing, and then making an ass of myself, I'm giving myself the practice of talking to 2 people at once, 3 people. I don't know why people have a problem with it. It's kind of like, hey, be thankful that I'm taking time to approach you. You didn't approach me, I approached you. But I know people need to be a little more considerate. So, I didn't address this in none of my other interviews. I always do it by, on Facebook. Oh, hey, would you mind? And yes, I talk with my hands. It's like, hey, would you mind doing group interview? ... What do you mean by group interview? All right. Now, maybe if I just promoted it a little more, it would make sense for people. So you're actually the first person that I talked that to.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. And I think that there's something, I used to be very much like you. A lot of people used to make fun of me or tell me I'm stupid or I'm ugly or I'm not talented enough or whatever it may be. And that really stays with you because you go, well, if they think that about me, therefore I really must be like that.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you go one of either ways. You either continue going on the belief system of other people and you're like, I am stupid, I am this, I'll never amount to anything. Or you go, I'm not stupid, I'm awesome, I'm a great person, and I can amount to anything. And then you put action behind that. So you are the person who takes that second path, which is, I'm awesome, I'm amazing, I'm not stupid, I can amount to anything. And I do agree with you in the sense of talking to other people. I also had issues talking to other people and connecting with them. It's really difficult to just go into a room and just start talking to people that you don't know. And what are you going to talk about? How are they going to react to you? The experiences that you've had have been so difficult, and you remember and you're like, they're going to just treat me the same way.
Right.
I've learned that how I dealt with that anxiety and that difficulty was just treat them like they're your best friend. You go in there and you're like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? Like, I'm Karen. Nice to meet you. What do? You just talk to them like you would talk to your best friend. And then
absolutely.
They turn do the same.
With that being said, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But
Sure.
Wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I do apologize for Skype cutting in, cutting out, but I promise next time I'll be straight out better. But wrapping up our segment, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Thank you very much.